today, so I got to make sure I have some energy for later on. But nonetheless, let's go to screen share because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. And we'll start off with we'll actually start with Sonny Edwards, right? Because there's plenty to talk about with Bam, but we'll start with Sonny because I feel like Sonny and Bam, they both delivered a great fight. And shout out to my man on Twitter, Gary William. He said he had a great tweet here, and he said, and I quote, "This fight was boxing at its finest. Bam and Sonny Edwards are showing that they got enough boxing IQ between the pair of them to cover a boxing encyclopedia. The elite versus the elite." Yes, sir. That's what it was, man. I thought, before we get into Sonny Edwards, I thought it was really interesting to see stylistically the adjustments that were made between both fighters. From the Bam Rodriguez side of things, he's a guy that a lot of his offense is predicated on those angles, the pivoting, the little side steps around the opponent to create that next big punch. Kind of like Lomachenko, kind of like Carlos Canizales. And back in the day, he has that quality about him. But he had a guy in Sonny whose feet are a lot more intelligent than a lot of the guys he's been fighting. So he wasn't really able to do that as much in this fight. So Bam had to really have intelligent feet and had to fight in a bit of a different way to break Sonny down. And as for Sonny, to see Sonny in there in the pocket, in exchanges, yes, he was getting touched up. Yes, he was getting beaten up. But to see Sonny Edwards actually in the pocket, winning exchange against Bam Rodriguez, holding his ground at times, it was definitely fun to watch. So, yeah, I would concur with this tweet right here. Both of them, I think, are two of the smartest fighters in boxing, and they do both have enough boxing IQ to cover an encyclopedia. And on top of that, I think Bam will be champion again. I think Sonny will be champion again. And boxing fans will look fondly upon this fight that took place between two of the best fighters in the world, especially two of the best fighters below featherweight in Sonny and Bam. So, yeah, shout out to them for putting on a great fight for the fans and making the fights we, the boxing fans, wanted to see when we wanted to see it, But let's start with Sonny, right? Because you got to respect him. I don't care if you were rooting for Bam. I don't care if you were rooting for Sonny. No matter how you felt about the fight and how it played out, this is the first thing Bam or Sonny tweeted after the fight. He said, I quote, "Yo, Bam Rodriguez beat my ass." And he obviously is poking fun at himself. And, that's one thing I like about Sonny Edwards is Sonny Edwards, like, he's authentic. He's true to himself. He doesn't, take himself too seriously, but he's always willing to fight the best. And he's letting you guys know the truth. Bam Rodriguez ripped him a new asshole. I can't lie to you. He did. Sonny had his moments. Sonny did his thing, but Bam Rodriguez put on a clinic in precision power punching and how to break a slick, fighter with intelligent feet down. So what he's telling y'all is the truth. And the fact that he could acknowledge it so early after the fight when I'm sure emotions are running high, it just goes to show you that Sonny Edwards doesn't have an ego. And I think a lot of fighters could learn a thing or two about how to conduct themselves after a tough loss like Sonny Edwards. Now, as far as Sonny Edwards, I mean, look, he had a rough go of things in the fight. It was not an easy night at the office for him. The dude literally, I think he fractured his orbital bone. I had it right here. But yeah, basically from the second round on, Sonny Edwards had his orbital bone fractured as I wait for this to load. Yeah, where is it? I had it right here. Hold on. Where we at? Getting these tabs confused. He said right here, from the second round, I was seeing double out of my left eye. I couldn't gauge if he was in or out of range. I was getting caught at the edge of distance, and I started throwing anytime I knew he was there, and it ended up getting me cut and then put down. It is what it is. I got beaten by the better man. Simple as that. And look, Sonny Edwards even put his record in his tweet. He put 20-1. So he's being humble in defeat. And that's what boxing is all about. I feel like a real champion isn't defined by a belt. A real champion isn't defined by just their losses, but it's how you handle the losses and it's how you come back from them. And we don't know how Sonny's going to come back from the loss. However, he's handling it like a champion should. He's not taking away from Bam's victory. He's not saying what he didn't do, or I was feeling sick, or my girlfriend and I had problems. None of that stuff. And that's what it is. He got beat by that better man, and there's no shame in that. Still a lot of good fights out there for him. Still, I think with his performance and the way he fought and putting on an entertaining fight and the build-up let's make no mistakes about it, ladies and gentlemen. We know Bam Rodriguez brought the entertainment inside the ring, but Sonny Edwards made this fight as big as it was with the way he built it up outside the ring and definitely with the way he decided to fight inside the ring. Inside and outside the ring, Sonny Edwards was a big reason why this fight was as big as it was and why, a fight at flyweight got so much good promotion, So I think he deserves a lot of credit for this fight getting the attention it got, And a lot of people, they become fans of Sonny Edwards. A lot of people that were not rooting for him, that were rooting against him, have become fans of him. Here's one guy. One guy said right here, there's some guy on Twitter named Ruben Narvaez says, it's always good to see top fighters take a loss the way you are. They make fans out of people. I'm sure I'm not the only Mexican to say that you made a fan out of them. You fought your ass off and went out like a champion should. Sonny responded by saying, and I quote, I just love fighting. I'll always bet big on myself, win, lose, or draw. Real fights only. And there's a lot of, quote unquote, real fights out there for Sonny Edwards. There's no shortage of real fights out there for Sonny Edwards. He's talked about potentially moving down to 108. He's talked about maybe bringing some of the guys up to 112. But listen, the one fight I would have seen, I think I had it right here in this tweet. Is it this tweet right here? I think it's this tweet. Where we at? Okay, before I get into who we might fight next, by the way, I see you, Boxing Therapy. My man Boxing Therapy says, I think the way Sonny performed will bring him into more bigger fights for himself. Yeah, it's not just the way he performed. It's also the way he promoted the fight. Because, like I said, Bam Rodriguez ain't much of a talker. Bam Rodriguez is very much an introverted guy. He doesn't really have a lot of words to say. And it's not anything to slag off or criticize. It's just that you don't want fighters, and you don't want people being something that they're not. There's a lot of fighters in boxing today that are being something that they're not. And, this fight needed Sonny Edwards and his character to be as big as it was, and he delivered. But if you think you're going to criticize Sonny Edwards and he's going to get bothered about what you guys have to say, here's what he said. He said, I quote, you think I care if there's hundreds and thousands of people who are slagging me? They don't realize that they do more advertising and promotion for me than anything else. So listen, he's not bothered. If y'all here criticizing Sonny Edwards, if y'all here saying that, he ain't shit and he's a bum and making fun of him, he's not bothered about it. He's come to peace that this is what comes with the game. This is what comes with the sport. It comes with the territory. This ain't badminton. This ain't the NBA. This ain't cricket. This ain't croquet. This ain't the NFL where you can blame your teammates. This is boxing. So you got to take your wins and you got to take your losses the same way. And if you can't do that, then you're a loser. And that's just how it goes. But as far as Sonny Edwards and what could be next, he did mention what could be next for him. He stated the following, and I quote, maybe me versus Angel Ayala, who was going to be called as my next mandatory. And then he also said that he likes the idea of picking up the winner of Adrien Curiel versus Nonthshinga, because for those that know, for those that don't know, Adrien Curiel and Nonthshinga are having a rematch. They're having a rematch. That's going to be, I think, in February in Mexico. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Nonthshinga was IBF champion. He had ambitions to fight Kenshiro. Nonthshinga won the belt in Mexico originally. He's going to have to go to Mexico to win it back. We'll see how that goes. But that'd be a good fight, stylistically speaking. I think Sonny would probably have to move down because he'd want the belt at 108, try to become a two-division champion. But, Curiel is a tough Mexican fighter, likes to come forward and likes to throw a lot of punches. He's also, if they are to fight at 108 pounds, Curiel is a lot stronger at that weight than he is at 112, as we saw in the first Nonthshinga fight. So it'd be a tough ask. I think Sonny could win it, but I think Sonny has the boxing IQ, and I think the Bam Rodriguez fight will make him a lot better, being able to deal with that type of sort of style. Because although he has fought some pressure fighters like the Alvarados of the world and Maruti Mitalani and guys like that, Bam Rodriguez was young, fresh, strong. So I think now he'd be more prepared to deal with a guy like an Adrien Curiel, who I don't think is as skilled as Bam Rodriguez. And as far as Nonthshinga is a big, strong guy at light flyweight. I have my questions about Nonthshinga if he can make the weight, but we'll see how it goes. I think those are both attractive options for Sonny Edwards going into next year. But I'll tell you guys this: I think the fight that Sonny Edwards, I know Sonny Edwards has stated in the past that one of his dreams is to fight in Japan. And he stated that he'd love to fight Kenshiro Teraji, the number one light flyweight in the world, who's a good friend of the program, a good friend of the True School Sports, who I had a chance to interview in my time in Japan. Right now he's holding the crown at light flyweight. And I think, okay, he didn't beat Bam Rodriguez. That's okay. He lost to the better man. But I'll tell you this, man. If Sonny Edwards could get a Kenshiro fight and get that name on his resume, I think that would go a long way towards the narrative of his career and just his perception, because Kenshiro is one of the best fighters out there. And I think when you look at promotionally, it makes sense, right? Because for those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn announced a couple months ago that they partnered up with I forgot what companies, but they had this partnership going on where they're supposed to have about 3 to 4 shows in Japan per year. So if Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn is looking to make a big Japanese fight in Japan as part of the whole Japanese venture, I think a fight like Sonny Edwards versus Kenshiro for the light flyweight titles, that should be something to look into. So, really, really going to be a good matchup if it does happen. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes there. Lot of stuff going on with Sonny Edwards. A lot of stuff going on with Sonny Edwards. Again, he said it himself. He feels like he can make 108. Obviously, he already campaigns at 112, and he's also considering a move to 115. So there really is no shortage of options for Sonny Edwards. There is no shortage of what he could do. There's plenty of fights for him. And again, it's kind of like, in a sense, like this loss against Bam Rodriguez, it reminds me a lot of when Caleb Plant fought Dave Benavidez earlier in the year. Caleb Plant talked a good game, went into the fight, had his fair share of moments early in the fight, ultimately got systematically beaten down and lost. But because of the fact that he was willing to take on a guy like Dave Benavidez and he already fought Canelo, he won a lot of fans. And it's the same thing. His stock rose in a loss. Sonny Edwards, same thing. Stock rose in a loss. So I'm looking real forward to seeing what he does. And I'm going to say this to close out. And I see your super chat, Felipe. I'm gonna get to it in a second, but let me get this last thing off about Bam Rodriguez, because I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe we reached the stage where I'm about to do this. I'm about to really criticize. I'm about to explode on my favorite fighter in history, because you guys know my favorite fighter in the history of boxing, and I want this to be very known. I want this to be very, very clear. I want this to be very, very concise. My favorite fighter in boxing is not Naoya Inoue, because a lot of people think that just try to follow me. They think that because I talk about Inoue so much that's my favorite fighter in history. It is not. My favorite fighter is not Naoya Inoue. It is not Terrence Crawford. My favorite fighter in history is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, but I gotta call him out because he's been talking a lot of trash to Sonny Edwards, and I don't give a damn. I don't really give a rat's ass if Sonny Edwards lost to Bam Rodriguez. I still want to see Sonny Edwards versus Roman Gonzalez. Why? Because Roman Gonzalez ain't doing anything else right now. Like, he's not fighting Kosai Tanaka. He's not fighting Kazuto Ioka. So the way I see it is this: if you're not fighting Kazuto Ioka, if you're not fighting Kosai Tanaka, then shut up and fight Sonny Edwards. That's kind of where I'm at, because I'm pretty sure that this isn't him on the screen tweeting these tweets, but still, people that he's associated with run his account. So I gotta take it as if it's him, right? So Roman Gonzalez said, Sonny Edwards, great effort. Have a Merry Christmas. Heal up. God bless. Hashtag levels to this game. And as you guys can see right down there, I tweeted that this isn't even Roman tweeting this. Go fight Bam. Yeah, he need to go fight Bam. Like, honestly, you in the same weight class. I don't want to hear none of that Mr. Honda Tekken promotion bullshit. Like, either you fight Bam or you fight Sonny or fight Ioka or Tanaka. Fight one of them four or retire. If Roman Gonzalez fight anyone outside of them four, he got to retire. And that's just the truth, because he's running his mouth all over Twitter talking about Sonny Edwards and I want to see that fight. That's actually the number one fight for Sonny Edwards I want to see. So to close out my whole segment on Sonny Edwards before I get to Felipe Super Chat, I want to see Sonny Edwards versus Roman Gonzalez number 1, Kenshiro number 2, and then the winner of Adrien Curiel versus Nonthshinga can be 3. And I think any one of those 3 fights for Sonny Edwards would suffice, and his stock has went up in a loss. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, shout out to Sonny Edwards. Probably, I'm not gonna lie to you, like he might be my favorite flyweight. Not because he's the best, not because he punches the hardest or anything like that. I just like the way he is. Like I like the fact that he talks shit, and then when he loses, he's not like a bitch about it. Like he's authentic. Like I like his authenticity that he brings to the sport. I still think when he decides to actually move around the ring and use his legs, he actually is still one of the best defensive fighters in boxing. But that's got to show you how good Bam Rodriguez is. The fact that Bam Rodriguez took one of the best defensive fighters in boxing and basically turned him into freaking Arturo Gotti or let me see, who's like a really bad defensive fighter. He turned him into Ruslan Provodnikov because I think he landed like 50 or 60 punches. Something like that, 50 or 60% of the punches, like a high, obscene, crazy percentage. So, yeah, man, those are my thoughts on Sonny Edwards. Shout out to everyone here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. In the afternoon, I don't normally do the afternoon show, but I got to catch up on a lot. So this is the first of 2 lives today. I will be live later on tonight. We're gonna preview the Saudi Arabia card. Wilder, all them guys. We'll talk about that later on, as well as other things in boxing. So if you guys want to talk about that later on, tune in. I'll probably be live for that around I'm thinking 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. What is that? 7 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, definitely tune in. But let's address the first super chat of the live before we get into Bam, because there's so much to say with Bam Rodriguez. There's so much to address with brother Bam Rodriguez. So shout out to Felipe with the super chat. Before we get to the super chat, I gotta say thank you to him. I gotta say thank you to God, and I gotta say thank you to Al Heyman, because I pray to Al Heyman.
What do you think Al Heyman's doing for boxing PBC?
I'm not sure. I know he's doing great for me. Me and my daughters thank Al Heyman, in our prayers every night. He's changing boxing, but I can't really speak for everybody else. I'm speaking for me.
There you go. So thank you, Felipe, for the super chat. And thank Al Heyman for and God and Al Heyman for a great day. Felipe says, BT, no one will be talking basketball Sonny if he had not talked shit about shit, but by the measures you use, it'll be measured to you. He said he was going to retire Bam and make him quit. I don't remember him saying that, but I do know it doesn't sound far-fetched. If he said that, then listen. One thing I'll say about Bam Rodriguez, Felipe, is that not Bam Rodriguez, Sonny Edwards, I should say. One thing I'll say about Sonny Edwards is that once he lost and people started giving him shit on Twitter, he's just taking it all on the chin and he's actually having fun with it. So, he's taking his loss like he takes his wins. But you're correct. If you don't want people talking shit to you, then don't talk shit to people. But Sonny Edwards can actually handle it, so that's why he did it, I guess. But we'll see how it goes, man. Definitely going to be interesting to see how his career develops, because he's had a magnificent career so far. He's the only guy he's lost to is Bam Rodriguez. The only guy he's lost to is a fighter that in Bam, who I think quiet as kept. He's starting to put like a Hall of Fame resume together already. I know people don't want to hear that because they say, oh, BT, these guys are midgets. They're not fighting nobody. They got to fight the best because there's no money in the weight classes. But listen, he's making it happen. He's performing every time they put like a top guy in front of him. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame yet, but he's definitely a pound top 10 fighter. That's not up for discussion no more. You know what I'm saying? And with the way it's going, you look at Bam Rodriguez and the trajectory he's on, I'm thinking like he keeps doing what he's doing these next 2 or 3 years, we might just be looking at a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame, because his resume, his accomplishments, what he's done in the sport so far, it's light years ahead of every young fighter in his age bracket. And that's just the truth. Let me see. Yeah, my man Lyndon Jones, he says, that's all promotion. All fighters do that. Yeah, you got to promote the fight. Like the fight, again, I reiterate, the fight was only as big as it was due in large part to the fact that Sonny Edwards did the trash talking, because it sure as hell wasn't a big fight because of Ring Magazine. Ring Magazine didn't put the belt on the line, so that the fight wasn't as big because of them. Sonny Edwards' trash talk was one of the reasons why this fight got the attention it got, and that needs to be very, very highlighted here on True School Sports. Michael Manning, what's good, champ? Good to see you. He says, BT, True School, and work, one is way better than the other. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to everybody at work. I know we're all trying to make something of ourselves in life. I've been busting my ass. You know, I've been in front of this computer for seemingly like the last 36 hours straight, editing and researching and planning lives, and just it's been a lot of work we're putting into the channel. I still got interviews I gotta edit. Like I interviewed Adrien Granados recently. I interviewed Zachary Spiller, who's like a prospect. I interviewed Elijah Pierce. Haven't even got to those yet, so stay tuned for those when they come out. But and all the other content on the channel. Just so much great things are happening in boxing here on True School Sports. And 2024 is going to be a special year. You know, I was at the WBA convention, shaking hands, kissing babies, petitioning for, you know, mistreated fighters to get a higher ranking, even though I'm not a manager. You know, it's crazy stuff happening in the world of boxing. But Michael says, or we'll go Felipe. He says, the tongue has the power of life and death. Yes, it really does. That's why you got to be careful of your thoughts. You got to be careful what you speak out into the world, because, you know, as a man thinks, as the good book says, as the good book says, as a man thinks, so he shall become. So got to be very careful. Michael says, when you see Sonny in the pocket training leather with a banger like Bam, it was really wild. Yeah, and look, he said it. He said pretty much that he spars a lot like that. So I believe him now. I didn't believe him before. I believe him now. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. Yeah. Where is Bam off to now? 115. Yeah, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. Shout out to Hyro. He says these guys are midgets. They're like 2 pounds. Chris Cora probably made more than Bam. No comment, Hyro. You just doing that PBC, dick ride on PBC again. It's crazy how normally Hyro, you normally wait till nighttime to dick ride PBC, but now you dick ride on PBC in the afternoon. Or actually, you're in California, so you're dick ride on PBC in the morning. So shout out to Hyro. He's probably not wrong though. Chris Cora might have made more than Bam and Sonny. Who knows? Because they do be